Hebrew language has been a most famous language for thousands of years. Its people are the Jews. The language is shown in the form of the Torah. The religion started around 1200 BCE or before Common Era by a man named Abraham. The Jews have gone through many tough situations in the CE or Common Era years, such as the Holocaust. The Holocaust was the time when a man named Adolf Hitler wanted to kill all the Jews in all of Europe. Eventually, Hitler was overthrown by the government of the world. There is a temple in D.C. that was made before Hebrew was revived. The people at that temple most likely did not use Hebrew as a spoken language, but as a religious language.
The Hebrew of the prayer book is beautiful because the Hebrew of the prayer book takes Hebrew poetry to a beautiful form and preserves beautiful, beautiful poetic forms of Hebrew.
But my topic starts before that, in the year 200 CE, when Hebrew died as a spoken language. For the next 1700 years, it was used only for prayer and Jewish studies. Eliezer Yitzhak Perlman was born on January 17, 1858, in Luzhny, Russian Empire. As a boy, he was very interested in the Torah. He was sent to a rabbinical school to be a rabbi or a Jewish priest. The way the Hebrew letters looked on the page transfixed him when he was young, and he knew he had to revive it as a spoken language. By Ben Yehuda's adulthood, he spoke Hebrew, German, Russian, French, and Yiddish. He had been to Vienna, Palestine, and most of Europe. He loved languages, and that's what he worked on. He moved to Palestine in 1881 to bring together the people and the language.
He, in a sense, he recreated Hebrew. He created Hebrew as a modern, living language.
He changed his name to Eliezer ben Yehuda, or Helper of God, Son of Judah. Judah was the leader of one of the ancient tribes of Israel. Ben Yehuda became a Hebrew supporter because of what was happening to the Jews around the world, such as poverty and the persecution they faced from the Russian Tsar. Just as the Zionist movement tried to create a Jewish homeland in Palestine, Ben Yehuda tried to make Hebrew the official spoken language. There he sent letters to many organizations about reviving Hebrew spoken language.
I think it's a beautiful story because nobody spoke Hebrew conversationally for almost a couple thousand years. And then in the late 1800s, it was revived because people in the Zionist movement decided that we should speak our own language again.
Ben Yehuda had a son named Ben Zion ben Yehuda, or son of Israel, son of Judah. He was born to Hemda ben Yehuda, who died later of tuberculosis she caught from Eliezer ben Yehuda. One day when Ben Zion was a young boy, Eliezer was leaving for a trip. Ben Zion ran out and started crying for his father. His mother Hemda sang him a Russian lullaby. Eliezer, hearing this, turned around and started yelling at Hemda for teaching him another language. Ben Zion responded to his parents in Hebrew, which supposedly the first word spoken in modern Hebrew. He said, "Dad, Mom, please stop fighting." When Hemda heard Eliezer teaching Ben Zion to speak Hebrew, she got furious. Later in his life, Ben Zion got a dog for his loneliness. When he took the dog for a walk once, the dog growled at 3 Yiddish-speaking children. Ben Zion told the dog to calm down in Hebrew. When one of the boys heard this, he said, "He speaks holy language to the dog." Soon the kids started throwing stones at the dog. The dog died. Eliezer ben Yehuda somehow wanted to get his message for revival to the Jewish world. That's when he got the idea to take over a newspaper called Hazvi, or the Deer, and turn it into a Hebrew newspaper. Though Ben Yehuda did not like the name of his newspaper, he continued anyway. He wrote many articles. Soon people started reading his newspaper. Later they started teaching Hebrew in schools. Soon he decided to start a dictionary, but he had a problem. He had to create a word for dictionary. He worked hard even through the hardship of his first wife's death. He created the first volume of his dictionary, and it was published in 1909.
And I think there's some neat things that they went back looking in the Bible for ideas of how to make up modern words. For example, the word for movies. They didn't have movies back in the days of the Bible. So I think they went into the Bible and tried to find things that would be similar. And so the word for movies is kol noah, which is moving voices, or moving sounds. So I think there are probably many more examples that I can't remember.
Eliezer ben Yehuda once sent a letter to a Jewish organization about Hebrew revival. It made Orthodox Jews very angry because they believed Hebrew was a holy language that should not be used in everyday speaking. They demanded that the Polish government send him to jail. Soon he was in a cell with murderers for a long time. When he got out, he was sure he was going to publish his dictionary. By the 19-teens, Hebrew had been revived and his entire dictionary published. Eliezer ben Yehuda died in 1922 of tuberculosis. He was buried at Mount of Olives, Israel. 30,000 people attended his funeral. His legacy continued on. People are still creating words and still teaching Hebrew.
Hebrew has the potential to unite us as being one worldwide polity. And that's why I think it's really, really important to try and teach Hebrew in America.
But I think it was pretty neat that I think it's the first time in history that a language that was not spoken at all got revived. I mean, it was used for prayer and stuff, but it's something we should be proud of.